What's up, athletes, and welcome to Connection Lost. This is part of the Days of Horror game jam. This is the last game that I'll be playing for it, and then I'll be playing my game after I edit all of these videos. Um, this is, I think, a visual novel, so we'll see how long this is. I might not finish this one if it's too long of a VN. Let's hit start. Cool light illuminates a dim bedroom, cast by the flickering screen of an in-use PC. The air is choked with warmth. The sweltering humidity from the ongoing storm outside is only amplified by thick, drawn curtains and the hum of the computer's overworked fans. A woman basks in the monitor's glow, hunched over her keyboard and rubbing sleep from her eyes. She fights against exhaustion and tries to keep up with the rapidly scrolling text on her screen. IDK, man, I think it's overrated. Way too much hype for how simple it ended up being. In before he says something about ludonarrative dissonance. I don't think I've ever used ludonarrative in a sentence before. The gameplay and story just don't synergize at all. Go fuck yourself, man. I call it like I see it. The woman leans in and hesitantly taps at the keyboard. A thin smile touches her lips as she steps into an ongoing conversation between her friends. What are you guys talking about? Smiley face. Send. The line sits on her monitor unentered for long seconds as she stares at the keys beneath her fingertips. Her smile wears down to an uncomfortable frown as she deletes the sentence and begins again. Let's all calm down, I think. She deletes it once more. Then what's the point of hitting the send button? She deletes it once more, reaching one hand up to worry her thumbnail. Worry her thumbnail? What? Worry her thumbnail with her teeth. What does that mean? Like this? I've never heard that phrase before. As she revises the sentence and begins yet again. Relax, these are my friends. Just think of something simple. It's not serious, just... More than a minute passes as she spends the time rewriting her opening line again and again. When she thinks to glance up at the message history to try to get a better sense of what's going on, countless messages scroll by as the conversation continues in her absence. Just send a message. It's not like you're shooting your shot at a girl you like. One catches her eye, highlighted in a sea of text, as it specifically mentions her by name. Her smile resurges as she hovers over the message, and her breath hitches in her throat for a single imperceptible moment. There's a lot of big words for a text conversation going on here. Also, I don't think I've ever used that word in a sentence either. Hey, at Maeve, I see you typing. You trying to weigh in? I wouldn't waste the effort on these two dorks. The woman recoils as her message makes her face flush in embarrassment. She hadn't sent a message, yet she had been noticed all the same. Her fingers tremble over the keyboard as a shameful smile splits her lips. She's getting a weird kick out of this. She always found Camilla to be more thoughtful than her other friends. She had been a source of reliable stability and wisdom for years. Her hesitation dissipates in an instant as her hands fly to send a reply before her pause became tangible. Oh, I was just going to say that you guys were being funny. Nothing too serious. Ha ha. The message leaves her hands before she can consider if it's even something she wants to say. Her inhibition, born of anxiety and a fear of being judged, vanished in the wake of attention from those she cares about most. Hi, Maeve. Nothing funny about it. This is serious stuff. Moss thinks every game she's played is a 10, and I'm trying to make sure the rest of the numbers below 7 get some use. Maybe I should move my face. There we go. That's probably better for you guys. He hates, lol, ignore him. He's hating, lol, no, ignore him. Cool, cool. Glad to see. Everything okay? Feel like we haven't caught up in a while. Her other friend's messages scroll past, but her eyes remain locked on Camilla's for a second longer, rereading it again and again. A giggle bubbles up from somewhere in her subconscious. Her hands tremble, not from anxiety, but rather adrenaline, as her head rushes, with a sense of satisfaction she nowadays can only find so rarely. Each key is pressed with intent. It's all good. Did a little cleaning today, and got everything finalized with the locksmith. We should talk tonight. I'm free if you are. The moment her finger strikes the enter key, she spins around in her chair, afraid to look at the screen. As she looks away from the computer, her focus swims for a second, just as a chill passes over her spine and sends a shiver all the way from her head to her toes. Her excitement chills to fear for a brief instant. Something pulls at her from the screen behind her, and before her conscious mind can remind her she's prone to bouts of unwarranted anxiety, she whirls around in her chair in a desperate attempt to confirm nothing has gone wrong. Sounds good. I'll call you when. All at once the lights shut off. The comforting glow of her PC screen is blank, and the hum of its fans have gone silent. It is only now she removes her headphones that she hears the thunderous pound of the storm outside. Oh, that's pound. Why did I say pond? Pound of the storm outside. Rain drills against the windows and walls, and the sound echoes throughout her home. I guess the power went out. I didn't think the storm was supposed to be that bad. Her first instinct is to reach into her pocket and pull out her phone, not one to go without reassurance for long. A great sense of relief stills her nerves as she sees that despite the outage, her connection to the internet is maintained. Well, yeah, if you have cellular, it will be. Quick taps bring her to messages, where she sees Camilla's waiting response unanswered. Something strikes her as odd. The message repeats unnaturally, duplicating the log. She supposes that the outage might have repeated it somehow, and chalks it up to the complicated processes of internet she doesn't quite understand. Sounds good, I'll call you when. Sounds good, I'll call you when I'm done closing up. Should be like a few minutes. Can I talk too? Fright keeps trying to get to me to play some bullshit. Oh, okay. Let me rephrase that. I didn't realize Fright was a person. Can I talk too? Fright keeps trying to get me to play some bullshit with him and B. Wow, okay. God forbid a guy want to hang out with his boys. We have plans, you two. We have plans. You two have fun. I can't read. No. Oh, what did I give this guy's name? Oh, yeah, give this guy's voice. Not like I'd want to intrude on that call anyway. LOL. Hey, sorry, my power went out. Give me a minute to check the breaker and I'll be on. Oh no. I heard there's supposed to be a storms over there. Makes sense to me. Take your time. The woman rises from her chair and paces over to the door. She can't help but feel nervous at the prospect of navigating her silent and darkened home, and clicks on her phone's flashlight in an attempt to find some comfort in the light. Steeling herself, she throws open the door and peers down the darkened hallway. Always cautious and prone to jumping at things that weren't there, she ensures she shuts the door to her bedroom behind her with one final click of the latch. Man, how are you not afraid of breathing at this point? Cautious steps carry her through the threshold and out into the abyss beyond. Her flashlight sweeps across the hallway to guide her steps through the dark. The silence sets her on edge, and the occasional peal of thunder in the sky above does little to calm her nerves. She glances back at her phone screen every few seconds as a reminder that her friends are only a few swipes away. How are you doing today otherwise? I'm okay. I guess I'm blank. Same old.
I've been pretty busy, but nothing I can't handle. Pretty boring otherwise. You know how it is with work. Hope you can get your power back soon.
As she comes to a stop at the top of her staircase, she stares down at her phone with a confused squint as she rereads the messages. She never considered herself the best at determining what people were thinking, but in the moment, she feels that her friends, other than Camila, were being oddly brusque. Is that how you say it? Brusque? I've never seen that word before.
I guess they're all playing that game or whatever. Can't let myself overthink everything.
The darkness of the ground beckons her from below. Every step she takes as she descends through the stairwell creaks and resounds throughout the house. Her rational mind betrays her, and despite how much she tells herself how empty the house must be, she can't help but subconsciously indulge in her childhood fear of the dark. Shadows dance around the corner as she makes it to the ground floor. With a glance, she confirms that her front door is as closed and locked as it always is, a fact which only quells her anxiety by a fraction. The house remains silent. The rush of her blood in her ears is loud enough to stifle her own breathing. Her steps shift on the floorboards, and the groaning of the wood beneath her feet is so loud in the absence of all other noise that it makes her blood run cold. She can't help but imagine the worst. She glances into the blackened doorway that leads into her kitchen. The darkness is opaque, almost as if something lurks within. Her body is slow to respond. Her mind, and seconds later, her phone flashlight illuminates the interior as she swings it open and points it ahead. The stark light creates sharp contrasts around every sharp edge and corner. The shadows grow long. Even when nothing can be seen, her imagination fills in nightmares around the edges of her vision. She can't help but see something bend around the far corner, attracted by the noise of her footsteps. She remains frozen in place at the thought. Her heart pounds in her ears as her mouth goes dry. As she pictures it so vividly, it roots her to the ground. Every minute shift in the air, minute shift in the air feels as intense as a punch, and even the slightest fraction of noise rings in her ears like a gunshot. For long seconds she stands in the hall, waiting to see her worst fears come true. Of course they don't. Nothing peers from around the corner or emerges from her imagination's darkness to ambush her. In one sudden moment of sobering self-awareness, she swallows down her fear and turns away from the kitchen. Oh, that was sobering, not sobering. My bad. Her terror only doubles with the doorway to her back. Her mind is full of creatures and shadows and nightmares, and it's only through sheer force of will that she can keep her back to the dark and face ahead. Cautious steps carry her to the door of her utility closet, willing herself to still her trembling hands. She pulls open the door and steps inside. Fumbling through the poorly illuminated dark, the woman gropes blindly in the utility closet to try to return the light to her home. Flip the breaker. The lights flicker back on, and the ambient hum of electricity through her home soothes her nerves more than she realized. She backs out of the utility closet and shuts the door with a final thud, satisfied with her handiwork. She didn't realize how much she missed the light until she finds a moment to catch her breath in the hall, leaning her weight against the wall as she closes her eyes and breathes in deeply. There was nothing in here but her. It was her house, as she stands in it alone. The lights she keeps on in every room banish the dark, and the heater's mechanical glow, as it whirs back to life, overcomes the steady thrum of the rain outside. A few moments pass, and her heart finally slows. She grounds herself with her head against the wall's cool tile, letting the anxiety seep out of her in waves. Her phone buzzes in her hand. She snaps free of her meditation and hesitantly checks the message.
Get everything fixed okay?
She smiles. She taps out a hasty reply and shakes her head at her own foolishness. All it took to ruin her mood was less than 5 minutes of wandering in the dark of her own house. Another giggle bursts from her lips as her will before against her. Oh. Another giggle bursts from her lips against her will before she can stop herself.
God, I'm an idiot. It's just a storm. This kind of thing happens. I need to get out of my head and talk to somebody.
Now emboldened with a newfound resolve, the house no longer looms with the same presence that she felt on her way to the breaker. On her way back to the stairs, she passes the kitchen and spares a glance inside. Fluorescent lights make it seem so much more inviting than it did a minute ago. Her fridge rumbles as it churns up ice now that its power has been restored. She passes her tongue over her chapped lips. Half of her felt thirsty enough to take a momentary detour for a drink, but the inviting message from Camila makes her phone feel heavy in her hand. Her phone buzzes again, and she can't help but turn away. As she crests the top of the stairs on a short trek back to her room, she glances up from her phone as something catches her eye. Her door is open. Open just wide enough for her to catch a slime. Slime. God, I cannot read. A slim glance of the interior. Her heart clenches as her smile dies on her lips. She's certain that she closed it, more certain of the fact than anything else. Leaving the door open set her on edge. She stands frozen at the top of the stairs for much longer than she should. The indecision weighs her down, but the social expectation proves stronger and forces her to swallow her fears and take cautious steps down the hall. With one quick push, the door flies open. She scans the interior as quickly as she can, with her pulse pounding in her ears. The room is empty. Her computer is restarting now that power has been restored. Her chair faces the door from when she spun to left. Nothing is out of place. Her heartbeat refuses to slow.
Talking to everyone will help. I'm just extra anxious from the power going out.
She slides into her chair and boots up her computer again. The glow of its screen comforts her as her headphones once again slide over her ears. She drowns out the noise of the storm and falls into her own little world again. Apologies, I'm back now. Everything worked again. Everything's working again. Hopefully the rain lets up soon. Wow, guys, Maeve is back. Get excited. Hooray for Maeve, haha. Little Rain never hurt anybody. Her smile fades. Something about the messages feels off. While kind on the surface, she can't help but read a crueler, sarcastic tone from her friend's messages. She tries to convince herself she's worrying about nothing again. Maeve, good to see you. Glad you got everything working okay. I'm all closed up over here, too. Her smile returns. That's great. How was work today? It was good. Business has been picking up a bit now that it's getting warmer. Sweet, lol. You getting any of this bad weather? Nah, it's honestly been pretty idyllic over here. Nothing to complain about. I just wish the sun was out a bit more often. Tell me about it. I swear it's been raining for a few days now. I can't even remember what the sun looked like at this point, haha. Yeah, that fits. I wasn't gonna say it. Ignore them. I hope it clears up too. Maybe if you get that job you were applying for, you could come visit? She pauses. Her face flushes again, and the insults slip her mind as she considers what the future could look like. Yeah, I mean, they haven't gone back to me yet, but I'm sure they will soon. I'll save up for it. With your resume, I'm sure they will too. That's the second sly comment in the last few minutes. She assumes they're all talking while playing a game, and figures she's on the receiving end of some joke she doesn't know about. It's harder to ignore it the second time. Guys, don't be mean. Maeve has been trying real hard. It's not her fault. Hey, it's fine. No offense taken. Haha. You're very offended. She brushes it off as if it didn't bother her. But the wound the jabs left behind festers. That's weirdly worded. Even Camila comes to her aid, leaves a bad taste in her mouth. Once she is eager to wash out as soon as she can. The woman tears herself away from the computer again and rushes out of her room. With one hand, she pulls out her phone and taps through the messaging app as she walks back downstairs. She can't shake the feeling that something is wrong, so she makes good on her promise and calls her friend for some comfort. She sets the phone to speaker as it begins to ring. After the second ring, someone on the other end picks up the phone. There's a loud burst of static that makes her wince and recoil from the speaker. But a moment later, the voice she's been longing to hear speaks up.
Hello? Can you hear me, Maeve? Camila! I can hear you. There was a bit of...
Excuse me.
There was a bit of interference, but it sounds like it's okay now. Nice. Must be the storm going on. I hope the power going out didn't scare you too badly. How are you feeling?
She hesitates. Camila's insight is so precise, she can't help but feel vulnerable, making her face hot with shame.
Oh, it was nothing. Happens all the time. Just had to step over to the breaker and get the lights back on. Well, regardless, good job.
She lies to try to save some face, but she can hear Camila's smile in her voice.
What are you doing now? I'm just getting something to drink. Probably some water. And then, I guess I've got nothing planned for the evening. You said you were all done at work. I'm hoping I'm not interrupting anything. Oh yeah, you're fine. Things wrapped up faster over here than I was anticipating. Honestly, I was happy to get your call. It pissed me off that the guys were bothering you like that.
I can't do girl voices, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I just assumed they were messing around. Come on. I could tell it bothered you. Somebody's got to stick up for you, right? You don't deserve to have them all treat you that way.
Her hand trembles as she withdraws a glass from the cabinet. She fights with every fiber of her body not to let another nervous giggle burst forth while she's on the phone. Having Camila hear something like that would embarrass her more than anything else. The woman sets her phone down on the countertop. Even if she suppresses her laugh, she can't help but smile as she raises the glass to the fridge to fill it with water.
Thanks. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't read that in time. All at once, chaos erupts. Something crashes outside, and the lights flicker out. She shrieks, sending the glass flying, where it crashes against the ground, somewhere in the dark. Shards scatter across the floor as she stumbles away with her back to the fridge, clutching it for stability.
Maeve, are you alright? What happened?
Her lips part, but no sound comes out. Fear roots her to the spot. She can only see, thanks to the ambient light cast from the phone's upward-facing screen. Camila's voice crackles through the speaker, just as thunder rolls beyond her windows. Something is wrong.
I don't know. I'm okay. Take your time and relax. Tell me what happened. The power went out again, and I freaked out, and I broke a glass. I need to go to the breaker and turn it on again so I can clean up this mess, but
She chokes up. She can't find the strength to speak over the growing lump in her throat.
It'll be okay. You're all right. It's just dark and it's just a broken glass.
Yeah, it's just a broken glass you can't see. That's not going to get in your feet or anything if you try to walk across the floor.
I don't know. It feels like...
She trails off, letting her mind drift to the dark. Thunder cracks the sky outside with such force that the windows to her back rattle against their hinges. She doesn't know what the crash was or why the power shut off again.
Maybe a power line went down or something. There was a big noise. I feel like I'm freaking out. Just pick up the phone and see what you can do about the breaker, yeah? One step at a time. It's just the power and the glass. It's more overwhelming in your head than it is out here.
She chokes down her panic and glances down. Shards glimmer all across the floor as she works her way across the kitchen without stepping on any bits of jagged glass. Well, look out for the well, I guess you can't look out for them, but there could be micro pieces on the ground that you can't see.
Okay, let me see if I can get the lights back on. And then, I guess I'll worry about this glass.
She collects the phone and eases her way out of the kitchen. The house is alive with sound, and the storm grows so intense that the wind howls louder than Camila's voice over the phone.
Good luck. I'm here if you need me. Huh? That can't be right. The power's not coming back on. It must have been a power line. I thought the storm was supposed to be over by now, too.
Camila says nothing. She glances at her phone to ensure the call is still connected and watches the seconds tick up in silence. The ceiling creaks overhead. Chills race from her spine to her fingertips as she freezes on the spot, focus glued on the noise and its origin. It creaks again, the second floor groaning to support the weight of something as it shifts around. She can't bring herself to speak. The creaking continues along the ceiling toward her room before it stops. She keeps herself so still that she refuses to even draw breath, smothering the phone's bright light against her shirt to hide in the same dark she fears. Camila's voice emerges at last, muffled by static. Maeve, are you still there? I can't hear you. So I guess Mute is upstairs doing something with a jammer. As quietly as she possibly manage, she whispers into the speaker as she creeps towards the stairs. I heard something upstairs. I don't know what to do. Well, I think the house was just settling or something. Why not go see? I don't know why I'm giving her a quiet voice. Well, I guess the house was just settling or something. Why not go see? Your front door has been locked all night, right? She pauses. Something about the way that Camila speaks sounds off to her, but in her panic, she cannot find the time to analyze it. To question Camila would be to abandon her only anchor, the only port in the storm, willing to shield her from total isolation. Okay, I'll go look. Wait, why are you going up the stairs? I thought you're... Oh, okay, I guess I thought she was going to check the front door. Sorry. She creeps up the stairs, even as quiet as she can manage. The aged floorboards betray her every step, with a sharp groan that makes her wince in fear. When she's almost at the top of the stairs, she peers around the corner into the hall leading to her bedroom. Nothing in the dark emerges to frighten her. Her bedroom door is wide open, even from the stairs. She can see the flickering glow on her PC screen. I can't see anything, but why is the computer on? Shouldn't the power still be off? That doesn't make any sense. She takes a cautious step forward. The moment she reaches the top of the stairs, something behind her slams against the wall downstairs, louder than the thunder outside. The sound of the storm fills her home. The wind howls up the stairs, and a frigid air chills her to the bone as she whirls the falls against the ground. For some time she can't hear anything else, only the endless rush of rain, more audible than it should be by far. She can't see enough in the dark to feel confident in venturing downstairs, and she feels more certain than anything that then the phone's bright light would attract the attention of something horrible. Camila's voice pierces through the veil of her terror. What was that? I heard it through the phone. I think a window got knocked open by the storm. Maybe there's a tornado or something like that. Don't you think you should go check it out? It might be serious if your house is flooding then. I'm just going to call the cops. There's too many weird things going on tonight and... No, don't be scared, Maeve. Nothing bad is happening. It's just a storm and it's dark. You wouldn't let little things like that bother you, right? You're brave. I know you can do this if you try. She can't help but feel like Camila is antagonizing her. Her withering tone is too intense, too off-putting for the situation at hand, as if Camila was trying to downplay the severity of all the horrible things that had happened to her in one night. And yet, it compels her, made her uncomfortable by the actions of her other friends, and assured again and again by Camila that she can't help but crave to be the woman she sees her as. Curiosity overcame her fears earlier, but it is only the desperate desire for comfort that motivates her to venture back to the ground floor. She braces herself to find the window broken open by some debris, tossed around by the storm. She expects to see more glass along the ground, and for rain to sting her skin as she fights to steal it closed before too much of her house is damaged. It's only as she glances towards the front door that she grasps how much worse the reality is than any nightmare she could imagine. The door is open. It hinges torn free from the wall. Rain emerges from an impenetrable wall of darkness beyond her front steps. The night is so absolute, it seems as if her house floats adrift in a void, detached from even the world.
Someone got inside,
she whispers, affirming the reality to herself as adrenaline floods her veins. She repeats it again and again in a mantra that shields her from nothing and provides her no strength.
Well, in that case, you should probably get something to defend yourself with, don't you think? Camila, I need you to call the cops or something. There's someone in my house.
She hisses into her phone. Frenized? Frenezed? I don't think... Okay. Frenezed with fear. Camila's tone is sly, as if she knows something that she isn't saying. Static crackles louder than the rain as Maeve shoves the phone into her pocket. You don't know that for sure, but if you're right, and it catches you off guard, who's to say what would happen?
Why did you say that?
Despite her best judgment, her addled mind cannot help but see reason in the thought of arming herself. Her vision blurs as she stumbles blindly through the dark and feels along the walls on her way into the kitchen. She can only make out the vaguest outlines of her kitchen. The rack of knives she only hardly used sits next to the fridge, and she begins towards it the moment she's sure she's seen it correctly. She creeps along the wall, eyes darting from each pocket of darkness to the next, expecting at any moment for a hulking shape to loom from around the corner, and... a jagged pain lances through her heels as her foot comes down on a shard of glass. In her fervor, she forgot the broken glass and its fragments all across the ground as she shrieks in pain as she collapses onto her hands and knees. That seems a little over-exaggerated. More glass embeds itself in her skin and slices angry lines across her hands. Tears well in her eyes as she clumsily palms at her heels, feeling the blade that dug into the soft skin of her foot. Blood rushes over her fingertips. It's warm. She heaves herself up from the ground, off the ground, using the countertop to support the bulk of her weight. All thoughts of stealth are abandoned as she grasps the knife rack with one hand. In her haste to pull it free, she knocks the rack aside and scatters knives across the countertop. They noisily clatter along the granite and to the floor. She can't focus long enough to worry about it as she grips the knife with both hands and whirls to point it into the dark. Wielding the knife makes her feel strong. Her foot aches as she favors her uninjured side and does her best not to rest weight on the glass still lodged in her heel. She stabs blindly forward, and her voice cracks with pain as she calls out, "I'm not scared of you. I know you're out there. Don't think you can just..." She swings the knife again as if to cut into the shadow and scare off the dark. Her chest heaves with exertion as she fights back tears. Her face is second to pain, and now, one wounded and backed into a corner, she lashes out against anything she can see.
"Come out! I've got a knife!" "Don't be childish."
Camila's voice bears no sympathy. With an audible smile from her lips, she whispers over the line, just loud enough to hear.
"It could be anywhere now. If it's already inside, it has no reason to come out while you're stumbling around and hurt yourself. All it needs to do is wait for you to let your guard down." "What are you saying? Camila, what's wrong with you? I need your help." "Nothing's wrong. Don't you think you're just a bit too out in the open?"
She glances to the side. She swears the dark conceals into shapes, limbs of shadow, that creep along the ground toward her, but she can't differentiate between the spots in her vision and the monsters she thinks she sees.
"If I were you, I would get somewhere safe. Somewhere with only one place to enter, so you know for sure whether or not you're alone. There's too much risk out there in the kitchen." "What?"
She withdraws her phone from her pocket with trembling hands. The name reads Camila, but she's more certain now than ever that the woman on the other end of the line isn't her.
"Go on now. You don't want to get caught, do you?"
Static crackles from the phone again. Over the sound of the rain, she hears something heavy shift somewhere beyond the kitchen, and her mind goes blind with panic. I thought you hurt your foot. How are you hobbling? Okay. She tosses the phone into the dark as she breaks into a hobbling sprint through the kitchen door and into the hall. Past the wide open door, bile creeps up into her throat as she digs the glass deeper and deeper with each step. Something behind her cries, an inhuman wail that pierces through the storm's ambient din. Something is behind her. The cry grows closer as she sprints up the stairs. She slams her shin against the final step and falls to her knees, wailing in terror as she shoves herself back up and sprints down the hall into her room. She has no time to pause and rest. With all the force she can muster, she grabs her bedroom door and slams it closed, bracing it with her whole weight as she fumbles to lock it. The lock bolts shut with a final click, and she allows herself to breathe. Her shadow flickers against the door, and she takes a moment to calm down, and she turns to face her glowing computer screen. The messaging app is open. She staggers over to the chair, her weak legs trailing behind her, as she whimpers against her will with each step, and falls into it as the last of her strength leaves her body. As she looks at the screen, her eyes widen in shock. Do you think she's dead yet? I hope so. It's been long enough. What a waste. I hope it hurt on the way down. I'm sure it did. Not like she could defend herself, could she? Hello, Maeve. Do you think hiding in your room would keep you safe? You're on your computer again like you always are. You spent all this time talking to these people, but never noticed until the end, did you? Why was I still able to talk to you even after the power flickered? Why did your friends all turn against you? Why did your computer stay on even when the power was out? Why did I know you were in the kitchen? Why did I know you hurt yourself? Why did I stay by your side, urging you to go further to defend yourself, to do what you said you could to stay safe? Why did you trust a woman you've never met with your life? She doesn't often think of you. None of them do. You have neighbors on the street you've never seen. If you knew them, maybe they could have helped you. At the end, you're alone. You always were alone. Or you think you are. At the end, you never once thought to look behind you. That's a weird monster design. Alright. It was well written, I guess, but I think it just kind of went on a little too long. This was like 40 minutes around, give or take. I feel like it's 10 minutes too long. I also think it would have been kind of more interesting if all of the descriptiveness of the darkness and her little journey to get the power back on, that was the horror moment of the game. And then after the power turns back on, everything becomes normal again. And it was all in her head. I think that would have been kind of more interesting. Like an existential dread of what her friends might be saying while she's left her computer and going downstairs to turn on her power. I think that would have been a bit more interesting for this type of game. Because as it stands, I don't know. I think the monster chasing her through the house just didn't do it for me, but whatever. That was Connection Lost. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.